Your will writes your fate. Stay with me. In a few minutes, I'll show you how to make that pen steady so your future is clear. In this lesson, I help you build a strong will you can trust. You will learn how to stop the mind from dragging you, how to choose by purpose instead of mood, how to act without delay, and how to keep going when results are slow. If you feel stuck, this gives you a simple plan for today. If you already move, this will double your steadiness without burning your heart. These are tested steps. They work. You wake up and the world pulls news, noise, old fear. By night you say, "Tomorrow I will begin." I do not want tomorrow, I want now. Many ask the world to be kind. I ask you to be strong. Here is the turn. Thought is wind. Will is the pilot. When will stands up, the wind cannot rule the ship. You will feel it in your spine, quiet, straight, ready. From there, the path is simple. Know who you are. Choose one clear act. Do it now. Do it again, and let the fruit come in season. Here is our path for this video. First, I'll show you how to wake your will in 1 minute, even on a heavy day. Most people skip this and pay all day. Then we'll aim the will with a small compass, 2 questions that keep you true when mood shifts. Next, I'll teach you how to hold the will with a daily floor and a simple chain so action becomes easy. Last, I'll show you how to turn will into results by trusting cause and effect so you don't quit just before the harvest. Along the way, I'll give you tiny drills you can use anywhere, a line to say out loud when you feel weak, and one counter move almost no one uses that saves you hours each week. Stay to the end. Your will shall feel taller, and your next step will be clear. We move from the promise straight into your hands. Because here's something most people completely miss when they speak of will. They wait for a feeling and call that will. But feeling is weather, and will is the pilot. So, I do not wait, I decide. And this next part changed everything for me, because when will stands first, the day obeys. Why does this matter? It matters because if I start from mood, I hand my fate to small wins. A headline here, a ping there, an old fear that wakes up and wants to drive, and by noon I am tired without having moved. I have spent my strength on talking to myself, instead of moving my hands, and the cost is high. I lose hours and I lose trust in my own word. But when I start from will, my spine stands, my eyes clear, my hands begin, and the whole day lines up behind that first stand. You can feel it now in your own chest. That little lift when you choose instead of hope. What is the move? It is simple enough for a child and strong enough for a storm. I wake my will in 1 minute, and I do it anywhere. At the bed, at the sink, at a bus stop, I take one slow breath, like I am smoothing water, and I let that breath pull me up inside. Then I speak a short line out loud, so the body hears it, and the mind must follow. I am strong, I will work, I will serve. I do not wait to believe the line, I speak it to build belief. Then I move my body for 60 counts, arms back, chest open, neck long, because posture is a lever on courage. And while the blood warms, I choose one tiny act that is near and clear, and I do it before doubt can gather. I wash 1 cup till it shines. I write 1 clean sentence. I place 1 thing where it belongs. That act is small by design, so I can win before breakfast. Because 1 honest win is not small. It is a signal to the whole system that I lead. Now a quick turn to the stakes so your heart remembers. Get this wrong, and you will spend the morning bargaining with yourself and the afternoon paying for the morning. You will feel busy and be empty. Your mind will call you lazy when you are only untrained. But nail this 1 minute and you will feel quiet pride return. You will trust your own word again. And a person who trusts their own word is hard to stop. Let me put it in a small living picture so you can see it breathe. There are 2 people in the same house at dawn. One scrolls and sinks, the other breathes, speaks the line, moves for 60, and does 1 tiny act. Same hour, different fate. By 9 o'clock, the second has 3 small wins and a clear head. The first has noise and a dull heart. The difference is not luck. The difference is will waking before mood. Now, how do you keep this going when the day is heavy? You keep the spark, but you make it gentle. Whisper the line, take 5 breaths, roll the shoulders. Do a 30-second act, it still counts, because the point is motion, not show, and if a voice laughs and says this is too small, smile and do it anyway. Small is exactly what we need when the mind is loud. I'll give you a tiny drill to lock it in by tomorrow morning. As your feet touch the floor, count 10 slow breaths. Say the line once with a steady mouth. Move for 60, do one 1-minute duty, then keep the door of the mind closed to the crowd for the first 10 minutes. No phone, no feed, because a temple must light its lamp before it opens its doors. Do the same spark again at noon if you dip, and once more late afternoon if you drift. 3 sparks carry even a heavy soul. You may ask, but what if I wake sad? What if I wake afraid? Then the rule is even kinder. Half a glass of water. 5 slow breaths. Open the chest, 1 soft act. Send a friendly line to one person. Place one thing in order. Feel that thin thread of control return to your hands. That thread is your rope up the wall, and once you feel it, you will not want to let go. Do you see the pattern? Breath first, then words, then motion, then a win. The order matters, because the body calms the mind, the words aim the mind, the motion proves the words, the win seals the start, and now that the will is awake, we must not let it run wild or crash into walls. We must point it with care so it does not chase moods but serves purpose. So hold this spark in your palm and come with me into the next turn. Because the very next question decides your road. Where does this lead? The spark is lit and the chest is warm. But here is what most people miss in the very next breath. They wake the will and then hand the steering wheel to the loudest feeling in the room. A sugar mood, a sharp pride, a quick fear, and a small impulse becomes a lost day. So I place a compass in my palm before I move one step, and this next part may feel simple, but it will save you hours, because there are 2 ways to live the same hour. One by weather, one by north. The weather shouts and changes and makes you run in circles. North is quiet and steady and brings you home. The difference is a pause so small you could hide it inside a single breath, and yet this breath changes fate. Why does this matter? Because if you act from feeling alone, your choices will look bright and taste bitter. You will say yes to the thing that pleases now and no to the thing that serves later. You will spend a week cleaning what a 5-second pause would have prevented. But if you act from direction, your day lines up like stones in a path. Each step agrees with the next. An agreement is a power you can feel in your bones. You sleep easier, you rise clearer, and you stop being surprised by your own results. What is the move? It is this. I carry 3 words in my pocket like a small prayer. Truth, service, health. You can choose your own 3, but keep them clean and strong. And before a click or a bite or a reply, I take 1 slow breath and I ask 2 questions that never grow old. What do I want here? Where does this lead in 1 week? I do not argue with the feeling. I do not crush it. I simply aim it. And if the answer bends away from my 3 words, I let the mood pass like a cloud, and I take the next right inch toward my words. 1 calm reply instead of a sharp one, 1 glass of water instead of the 3rd cup of coffee, 1 small help. Instead of 1 more scroll, I do not need a 10-year map to choose the clean next inch. Inches become yards, and yards become years. And that is how lives turn. How do I keep this living when the day is loud? I use tiny rails that catch me before I slide. First, my if-then map. If I feel rush in the chest or heat in the jaw, then I slow 1 breath, and I ask the 2 questions. The breath turns a stampede into a line. Second, my compass card. A real card, not a screen, because the hand touching the card teaches the heart to remember north. Third, a 1-minute rehearsal each morning, where I picture a likely test, a rude message, a sweet tray, a tempting link. And I watch myself pause, ask, and choose. A minute at dawn buys me hours at noon. Let me place a small story in your hands so you trust this. A young manager wrote that she kept sending sharp emails at noon and spent the afternoon repairing them. We stuck the 2 questions above her keyboard and wrote her 3 words on a small note beside the screen. Week 1, she paused 5 times and changed 3 replies. Week 2, she paused 8 times and changed 6. By week 3, the fires in her team were fewer and her evenings were quiet again. Not because the world softened, because her direction steadied and her words began to match it. Now, you may say, this sounds slow, but see that slow is fast when it saves a day of cleanup. And you may say, I do not know my long purpose yet, then let your 3 words choose the next inch. Tell the truth here. Help 1 person now, drink water today. The path will open as you walk it. That is the way of roads. Hold this with me. Feel the breath, touch the card. Ask softly, what do I want here? Where does this lead in 1 week? And watch how the heat drops and the path appears. That alone is strong, but a single clean choice is still only a spark. To light a life, we need a steady flame. And a flame is made by repetition without drama. So keep your compass in your pocket and come with me, because now we will hold the will until right action becomes as easy as walking. We have the spark and we have the compass, but here is where most people lose the road. They make one clean choice and then wait for lightning to strike again. They treat progress like a miracle instead of a rhythm, so their week fills with bright starts and quiet stalls. And by Friday, they feel tired and ashamed, though they worked hard in bursts. I do not live that way. I build a floor under my day so small I can keep it even on a dark morning, because one right act helps a day, but repeated right acts shape a life. And this next part may seem plain, yet it holds more power than inspiration. Why does this matter? Because if you rely on mood, you will stop whenever the wind shifts, and you will call yourself lazy when you are only untrained. You will waste hours returning to the start line again and again, but if you rely on rhythm, you teach your whole being a new truth. I show up even when I don't shine. I keep my word even when no one looks, and that truth builds a quiet pride that carries you through storms. What do? I set a daily floor, and I honor it like breath. I close the door, I put the device away. I choose one clear task. I start a short bell for 5 minutes, and I do not ask my mood for permission. When the bell rings, I stack another until I reach 30. At 30, I draw one honest mark on paper, one X, not to boast but to prove, because the eye believes the hand, and I keep a small law that has saved many souls. If I miss one, I never miss two. I do not let a slip become a slide. I return at once and I earn the next X. How do I keep this when the day is heavy? I shrink the floor, but I do not drop it. I use a minimum habit, 2 minutes, 3 breaths, 1 paragraph, 10 push-ups, tiny yet true. I still count it because the point is rhythm not show, and I hold rest as a duty. Yes, a duty. I sleep on time. I drink water. I walk in the light. I stretch like a bow that wants to be true, because strength without recovery is smoke, and we are building iron. Let me place 2 small stories in your hands so you trust the road. A friend used to sprint on Monday and vanish by Wednesday. He said his will was weak. We gave him the daily capsule and the paper chain. Week 1 he had 4 X's and felt shy. Week 2 he had 6 and felt calm. By week 4, he looked at the wall and said softly, "I keep my word." His results grew, yes, but the deeper gift was the new voice in his chest. Another student wrote that grief had emptied her days. We cut the goal until it fit in her palm. 5 minutes of reading, 1 paragraph of notes, a short walk around the block. She kept the chain for 9 days and said the air inside her was wider, not because the pain left, because her rhythm returned, and rhythm brings hope. Now, you might say this is too slow, but see that slow is fast when it does not stop, and quick is slow when it collapses and must begin again each month. You may ask, what if I can do more today? Good, do more and smile. Then come back to the same floor tomorrow. Do not raise the floor because of one proud day. Build a life your weakest self can keep, that is wisdom. And if you fall off for a day, do not make a sad story. Write this instead. If I miss one, I never miss two, then put your hands back on the rope. Remember our order. Awareness sees the thought, direction points the inch. Consistency repeats the inch, until the path appears under your feet, like a road that loves you. Feel the bell, hear it ring, mark the X, breathe, rest, return, and hold this flame steady, because the next move keeps the flame bright and warm and safe from rot. We will purify the will, so power does not harden into ego, and peace does not slip away. We have a steady flame now, and it warms the day. But here is what most people miss when strength finally arrives. They grip the work so hard that the hand becomes a fist, and a fist cannot hold peace. So I open the hand, I keep my will pure with service and with letting go. And this may sound soft, yet it protects power better than iron, because there are 2 kinds of strong lives in the same city. One is tight and proud and tired, the other is wide and quiet and kind, same hours, different hearts. And the difference is simple. One works to prove the self, the other works to serve and then releases the fruit. Why does this matter? Because a will without service grows sharp and lonely, it cuts the world and then it cuts you. It chases praise and it fears silence. And soon the chain breaks under the weight of its own ego. But a will with service stays fresh, the way a river stays fresh by flowing. It gives a little each day, and new courage returns, like clean water. And a will with letting go sleeps well, because results live where they belong, in season, not in your fist. What is the move? I keep a small daily rule that fits in any life. One duty, one kindness, one letting go, one tiny duty that is near and clear, one small act for a person I can help right now, one quiet release of a weight I cannot carry today. I send a clean message to someone who is low. I carry a bag. I listen with my whole face for 1 minute. I do the work for an hour, and I do not check the numbers while the hour is holy. Because a seed cannot grow while you pull it from the ground to measure it. I give fully to the hour and I let the fruit go. I say inside me. I offer the work. The fruit is not my master, and I feel how the chest loosens when the grip opens. How does this hold under heat? I use tiny rails. Before I begin, I whisper, for truth, for service, for health. And I begin. In the middle, when the itch to check comes, I smile and say, not yet, and I return to the breath. At the end, I stand, stretch, drink water, and only then do I look once and learn, not to praise myself, to adjust my aim. And if praise comes, I bow to it and let it pass. If blame comes, I bow to it and let it pass. I am the worker, not the clap, not the hiss. Let me give you a small living picture so you trust this. A young maker told me he could work hard, but he always ended the day angry and empty. We added the 1-1-1 rule and a 1-hour result fast. Within a week, he said, his work felt brighter and his evenings lighter. Not because money fell from the sky, because his heart stopped pulling on fruit that was not ready. He served one person each day. He let one stone drop from his chest, and the will that once felt brittle began to feel warm. Now you might say, if I let go, won't I lose my edge? And I will answer gently, letting go is not quitting, it is cleaning. You keep the edge for the cut that matters, and you stop sawing at the air. You save power for the strike that is due, and that is why service and release make you stronger, not weaker. Hold this with me now. One duty, one kindness, one letting go. Give fully. Release the fruit. Feel the peace return like a friend who knows the back door. And keep your eyes on me, because the path is almost full, aimed, steady, and pure. Now we transmute will into visible results the old way, by cause and effect that never fails. We have will that wakes on command, a compass that keeps north, a drumbeat that does not fail, a heart made wide by service and clean by letting go. So now I place the last stone in the path, and it is older than any book and truer than any mood. Cause and effect, what we sow we reap, not always today and not always where the eye can see, yet always, and this is where many strong souls grow restless, because the field looks empty while the roots go deep. They stare at the soil and call it silence, and they pull at the seed to check the length of its shoot, and the tender shoot breaks in their fingers, and they say, fate is cruel when it was only their hurry. So I teach myself to count what matters. I count the seed, not the fruit. I count the tending, not the noise. I count the steady days like pearls on a thread, and I trust the season to keep its word. Why does this matter? Because if you judge your work by today's harvest, you will quit the very week the soil is ready to open. You will call good effort useless, and you will step backward into doubt. And doubt is a tax the weak pay forever. But if you judge by the seed you planted and the weeds you pulled and the water you gave, you will sleep clean, you will rise clear, and when the first small green shows, you will smile not with surprise but with recognition. Yes, this is what grows when one lives like this. What do I do each night so the law becomes a friend I can feel? I open a small page and I keep a simple seed log. I write 3 seeds I planted on purpose today, a thought I chose instead of a fear, a word I spoke with care instead of heat. An act I did though mood was low. I kept my bell for 30. I answered with calm. I walked instead of scrolling. And I closed the book and I sleep like a worker who kept faith. And I pull one weed because a small leak can drink a whole river. 10 minutes of doom scroll, a late snack that steals good sleep, an angry reply that burns an hour. I drop one leak for 7 days and I watch how time and peace return like birds to a quiet tree. And when progress feels slow, and the old ache rises, I open last week's seeds and read them out loud to my own heart, and I say, law is working even when I cannot see. and I plant again. I will give you a small scene so you see it walk. An artist wrote to me that nothing moved, no orders, no calls, no praise, only the sound of his own breath in a long room. We made the seed log his vow and chose one weed. 1 hour of late-night noise, he drew each day. He posted 3 times a week with clean words. He reached one person daily with a kind note. For 6 weeks, the field looked the same. Then, in week 7, a small door opened. Then 2, then 5, and others said it was sudden, but he looked at his book and said softly, "It was time, and you may say, but I planted and nothing came." Then check your seed and check your season, and check if your hand is still pulling at the sprout. If the seed is right and the season is right, give it sun and water and time, and mend the fence that lets the goats in. Move the pot to better light. Change the angle of your work. Do not curse the soil, and if the seed was wrong, bless the ground for teaching you fast and plant again with better seed. This is how farmers learn, and we are all farmers of days. Breathe now and feel how calm this makes you. You are no longer begging results, you are becoming the person who creates them by law, and that is the final translation of will into world. Not magic, not luck, a straight line from cause to effect drawn daily by your own hand. Your will is awake, aimed, held, purified, and compounded, and you are ready to close with a vow that lives after this moment ends. We have walked the whole road together, from the first breath that wakes the will to the clear inch that keeps direction, from the small bell that protects your chain to the open hand that serves and lets go, from counting seeds to trusting the season. And I want you to feel this not as a talk, but as a tool you can lift before you stand from your chair. So take this vow with me for the next 7 days and let it set the bones of your life. Each morning I light the spark, 10 slow breaths, 1 steady line, a short movement, 1 tiny act. Then I keep the door of the mind closed for 10 minutes so the lamp can burn. When a choice appears, I take 1 breath and ask 2 clear questions. What do I want here? Where does this lead in 1 week? And if the answer bends away from my 3 words, I let the mood pass and I pick the next right inch. During work, I keep a 30-minute capsule, or, on heavy days, a small minimum habit, and I draw 1 honest X, and if I miss 1, I do not miss 2. I return at once, I give fully to the hour, and I do not pull at the fruit. I serve 1 person in a small way, and I let 1 stone fall from my chest. And at night, I write my 3 seeds and remove 1 weed, and I sleep like a worker who kept faith. Say this with me now, so it roots in your bones and rises when the world is loud. I am strong, I will work, I will serve. I let go, again, slower, and let the words straighten your spine, because words shape will and will shapes days and days shape destiny, and yours is ready to stand firm and shine. Before you go, I will hand you the next tool that makes all of this lighter when noise is high and time is short, because will grows faster when focus holds steady. In the next lesson, I teach 5 one-minute drills that lock attention on command. Moves you can use at a desk, on a train, in a crowded room. They turn "I'll try" into action, while the clock is still at the top of the minute. If today's path felt clean, these drills will make it smooth, so come with me there. Click and master focus. Start today, and let the harvest follow in its honest season. Until we meet again, keep your spark, keep your compass, keep your chain, serve and let go, plant and tend and trust the law, and walk on with a quiet mind and a warm heart.